um, Today was a prime example of why you need to capitalize on your opponent's mistakes in order to win games in the National Football League. Today we had 3 turnovers, but we didn't get the ball. We had many opportunities, but we just didn't capitalize. On special teams, we had a couple of good kick coverages. I thought we did a good job of getting some returns out past the 25-yard line. I thought Maurice Hicks did a tremendous job in that aspect. He did a good job with ball security. We did have 1 fumble on a punt return in the 3rd quarter. That led to 3 points off the turnover, but overall I thought we did a good job in that aspect. From an offensive standpoint, we had a couple of decent drives where we were able to mount some yards with the run and a couple of first downs through the pass, but we just weren't able to sustain it. In this football league, you need to be able to finish drives with touchdowns more than you finish them with field goals, and we just did not accomplish that today. From a defensive standpoint, we really struggled out there some with the run defense. I thought we improved in the 4th quarter. After we were down 35-3, we only gave up, I think it was 21 yards on the ground, but we still had a couple of problems even there, especially with the pass. You saw today, I thought we had some pretty good games out of some of our players. I thought Derek Smith made several really good quality tackles. He was really strong in run support. From that standpoint, I think he played pretty well. My hat's off to him. Jeff Ulbrich came in. I thought he did a pretty good job as well. We had a pretty good play out of, say, Maurice Hicks on special teams. We also got some strong play in coverage teams. Michael Robinson got down the field a couple of times and made some good plays in that aspect. We need to do a better job with management, time management, on the offensive side of the ball. A couple times we had to burn timeouts. Alex is still learning how to work with Jim Hostler in that aspect in terms of managing the offense and getting the play in time. But overall, I think we're improving in that aspect, but the results need to be there on the field. I'll take questions.
Oh yeah, excuse me, Alex Smith. I was wondering, what are you going to do about his inability to get the ball down the field where it needs to be?
Well, from a deep passing standpoint, I think Alex is improving, but part of the process is we need Alex to do a better job of reading the coverages and getting the ball out quicker. I thought he showed good touch on a couple of his passes. In the 2nd quarter, he made a throw for 21 yards to Arnaz Battle. I thought that was a good throw, but we need to see more consistency. You know, he's in his 3rd year, and we're expecting a lot of development out of him, but it's still part of that process, part of that learning process, so he needs to improve. Still, obviously, the results haven't been there on the field quite the way we like them, but, you know, we just need to keep working. We're going to work hard, and Alex is doing a great job of coming in, studying game film, and doing all the things he needs to do and needs to do to improve.
Vernon Davis is, what are you going to do about his speed? He seems to have an issue getting down the field where he needs to be.
Well, Vernon, he ran a really fast 40-yard dash at the combine. I think it was 4.38 seconds. So he has the speed. He just needs to learn how to manage his functional speed better. He needs to control his speed, get in and out of his routes quicker. He's been working hard to improve that. He's a high-character kid. You know, he's had some issues with staying healthy, but when he's been out there, I think he's been doing the things that he needs to do in order to get better, doing what's required of him, and a little bit extra in practice. I expect to see improvement out of him sometime within the next century, so we'll see how that goes.
During the 2nd quarter, on the 50-yard line, Frank Gore apparently got into it with the ref. What's going to be done to reprimand him from doing this again?
Well, you know, I think Frank got a little emotional. He's an emotional player. Some of us, sometimes we get emotional during the course of a football game sometimes, and I don't think Frank's any different. I get emotional out there sometimes. Frank just lost his temper. He came in after the game was over and apologized to me for that outburst. I don't know as far as any disciplinary action from a disciplinary standpoint is concerned. I'm not exactly sure. That'll be a collective decision. Scott and I and Dr. York, we will all make a decision as far as disciplining one player. When we discipline someone, we all discipline someone. So we have to determine that collectively, and that's the process as far as that's concerned.
Why do you have such a small vocabulary?
Well, from a vocabulary standpoint, when I went to grammar school, I never paid attention during, English classes. I never bothered to improve my vocabulary. It just wasn't something that, from a needs standpoint, that I believed was important for coaching in the National Football League. And so I just kind of tuned it out. I like to, stare at females and other things like that. Ones that I would have no chance at ever getting. And, that's really from a class standpoint. I just didn't pay a lot of attention. My learning process was just not where it needed to be at that time. Yes.
Excuse me, Alex Smith in the third quarter, second down. He tripped. What are you gonna do about that?
Well, sometimes, it's things during the course of a game, sometimes they happen. And some guys make mistakes, sometimes you trip. From a grass standpoint, I've heard that the grass was pretty well watered. I thought that, the grounds crew, from a maintenance standpoint, did a pretty good job. But sometimes, in order to do this job, you need to really double check your work. And I think that next time, I think they'll do a more careful job. But at the same time, I think that Alex needs to be a little more careful in the pocket. We've been trying to get him to improve that in practice. He's been working really hard. And I don't think you'll see that kind of mistake again from him this season. But if it does happen, you won't see it very many more times.
The tackle done by Vernon Davis in the third quarter also. He apparently let him go.
Yeah, well, Vernon's a tight end, and I'd be more concerned if it were a linebacker who missed that tackle. But since he's an offensive player, I'm not overly concerned with him missing tackles. If you see some of the ugliest missed tackles in this league, 90-something% of them will come from offensive players. So when we're teaching guys to tackle from a tackle standpoint, that process, we go through it with the defenders, 6 days a week. We don't go through it with the offensive players. The last time those guys have gone through it was probably when they played both sides of the ball in high school. So, Vernon's a strong guy. He's a big guy. Expect him to be able to tackle. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way. We've just got to not turn the ball over. When you turn the ball over in this league, you really don't have a chance to win too many football games.
Frank Gore's performance in the last game was truly almost... It wasn't good, but in this game he definitely showed much improvement. How did you do it?
Well, it wasn't me. It was Frank working really hard in practice. That's why we got the high character guys, because you know that no matter what happens, they're going to give it their all on the football field. And from an effort standpoint, the effort's been there. We're continuing to work hard. We're just not getting results. We got to improve this next week against Cincinnati, or, we're not going to have a shot at making a playoff run. But obviously Frank, he's had some struggles, but he's working really hard to come through them. That's all I can really ask for out of him. He's obviously done a lot of good things in the past. I think he's still doing some good things, but he definitely needs to pick it up. But some of it is on the offensive line. We need to open more holes in the running game. But at the same time, I think our offensive line, from a blocking standpoint, has generally done a pretty good job.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan. That'll be all.
Thank you.